When it comes to selecting a mate, it does seem to be a triumph of youth over experience as far as males are concerned. The excuse that males are driven to select young, attractive mates over their more lived-in sisters is always laid firmly at the door of evolution. The choice is based on the need to produce offspring, it's argued, rather than to foster a deep and meaningful relationship. And a youthful, fertile female is simply a sensible, biologically safe option in such circumstances. But not, it seems, for chimpanzees. New research published in the latest edition of the journal Current Biology has shown that, unlike their human relatives, male chimpanzees actively prefer to mate with older females. So why should that be? And do chimpanzees know something that still eludes modern man? Richard Wrangham is Professor of Anthropology at Harvard University in the United States.
We think that this is because of the social system of chimpanzees being different from humans. The males don't form bonds with particular females, so that means that they're not competing for young females, they're just interested in mating with any female, and as a result they're quite different from humans in their mate choice.
But given that they're interested in any female, there is still a marked preference for the older female.
They really do like the females with the saggy skin and the slow movements. And it probably is because over evolutionary time, males that favour those females do well because those females are good mothers.
It sounds quite heartening, really, that there is a difference in viewing the female. But the older chimpanzee female, how fertile is she? She may be attractive in whatever sense, but is she a good mate?
She does retain good fertility. She doesn't undergo menopause. As long as she's healthy, she'll continue breeding until her 50s. So the males are not making a bad choice in that respect.
So given that preference, and you feel that you can explain it in some ways for the chimpanzee, why is it so different from humans? Why should the human choice be so different?
It's very striking. It's easy to think that the human choice is the natural choice because maybe males like females who haven't been bruised by the passage of time. But it's not. Humans turn out to be the unusual species compared to other primates, and it's probably because in humans there is a very strong bond between males and females that can last a lifetime, and so the male does well by starting that bond as early as possible in life, being attracted to females as young as possible before they form bond with other males. And there are no such bonds in chimps, so in chimps it's very different.
How much of that, particularly in humans, is a social conditioning rather than a biological urge?
It looks as though there is a strong biological component because it's cross-culturally very true. You can go to Brazil or Russia or different countries in Africa and so on, as well as the United States, and everywhere males prefer young females. There certainly is a strong cultural component as well, exactly what they prefer, but you can do tests by giving people photographs of old and young women or young women whose features have been modified in small ways, and always the pattern emerges in the same way. Men prefer youth.
And given that we both have the same lineage, where, do you think, in evolutionary terms, did this split happen?
The current modelling for human evolution is that about 6 million years ago, the common ancestor between humans and chimpanzees was much more like a chimpanzee than a human. So we think that humans changed in this capacity, and probably they changed around the time when humans first started having strong mating bonds, which most people put about 2 million years ago with the beginning of meat eating, where men were able to provision the family. They were able to bring meat back to a mother, and this led to the development of bonds between the mother, who was so grateful, as it were, to the male for bringing the meat, and he was very happy to be able to have her bonded because it meant that nobody else was competing with him for this particular female. So it's the development of hunting and meat eating that most people think is responsible for these almost unique kinds of bonds that we see in humans.
And the parallel in the chimpanzee community is that no lifetime bonds, much more promiscuous and therefore looked after by the group, the community.
That's right. So in the chimpanzee, the males are competing for just one-time matings, whereas in humans, the males are competing for long-term relationships, and in the chimpanzee, the mother brings up her young without the help of any particular male.
Professor Richard Wrangham at Harvard University in the United States.